Hey guys, it's Jeff Lee here in my office down near Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm just recording a quick intro to this video you're about to see. My dad passed away in May of 2020 on Mother's Day, suddenly, unexpectedly. And it's been a huge loss for all of us. He was my best friend, and you know, it was a big shock to all of us. It was a heart attack, and in the middle of this pandemic and everything going on, and it's just been one thing after another. And so anyway, he was a great guy. Anybody who knew him um, really liked him, and he was very helpful um, to fellow racers. He was a drag racer. He was an engine builder. He had a speed shop. He was a pattern maker by trade, and designed this HammerHead IRS housing for Camaros and Corvettes and things in his retirement, and I helped him with that. ET Enterprises was his speed shop, and so that's what you're going to see is a tour of the old ET Enterprises in our barn back home in Michigan. Um, and kind of what I'm doing, since I still work in the business, I work with Hammerhead, and I work at an agency doing digital marketing for a lot of brands and automotive performance clients. Um, I I figured I would make a video of all of the stuff because I'm going to sell a lot of it. I'm going to build a couple cars, and I'll probably document that as well. And but there's so much stuff, and it's a really neat place. I go up there probably every month or two for a couple weeks and go through things and see some, and been doing inventory and all that kind of thing. So it's taken about a year and a half for me to get a handle on everything, and know what's what, and where what things are, and where some of the secrets that I didn't know about. So if you're interested in anything, um, the best way to get a hold of me is to email me, and that it would be at jeff@hammerheadhousing.com. And we might do some appointment only showings, but I'm not gonna just have anybody come in there, and it's mom's house, and I want to be very respectful of that. So I think this is the best way to show people kind of what's going on, and we'll be listing things on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and Racing Junk and those types of places. So um, my apologies for the shaky camera work. Um, I just kind of ran through there with my old cell phone and shot a bunch of stuff. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or shoot me an email. Again, jeff@hammerheadhousing.com. And thank you. Subscribe, like all that stuff, because I will probably be posting more things uh, as we go. So, all right, thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Jeff Lee, and a little bit nervous doing this, but I just wanted to kind of give a tour of my late father's collection of parts. He used to own a speed shop. We own a company called HammerHead IRS. We make independent rear suspension differentials. But my dad was a racer for since the '60s until the mid 2000s, and unfortunately last year on Mother's Day he passed away. And I'm still in the racing industry. I work for an agency, and I help Dad with the business with called HammerHead IRS. But I'm up here in Michigan. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and my dad, he passed away very suddenly, heart attack, and it's been tough, and it's been, a weird time too with the pandemic and everything. And right now I'm in the basement of my mother's house, and this is kind of where he would build engines in the wintertime when it was too cold out in the barn or the speed shop back in the 80s. It was called ET Enterprises, and it was probably most active in, the mid 80s to the late 90s. He was a pattern maker by trade, and he built engines on the side, and pattern makers, their work was very seasonal, so he'd get laid off every now and again, and he'd go racing in the summer and selling engines and building things. But he was my best friend. He was a great dad. He helped all of us kids, follow our dreams, and everything. And what we're trying to do here is, I'm sure there's some things that I would like to keep, but I can't keep everything. And, I'm going to help Mom out and, sell some of the parts that I'm not going to use. So I'm just going to go on a quick tour of the house, the basement here, and then the barn. And might be messy, but follow along with me, okay? But here, this is our basement, and our old it was like a coal chute, but in a wood. We used to throw our wood down here for the wood furnace, but we put some shelves in here, and Dad started putting. Later in his life, he was always into everything, and he was a pattern maker, and he actually worked on a lot of LS stuff in the pattern shop. So when they came out with this engine, he was really excited about it. So he's got a lot of LS parts. Like here's some ported 243 heads. We've got some intake manifolds. Some of this I might use for a car I'm building, but like I said, I can't use it all. So, and he was also mainly a big block Chevy drag racer. He raced NHRA stock Eliminator, and he raced NMCA top stock back in the day. And these are some parts for his Z28, which we'll see later. But there's some small block heads, some big block heads, some LS parts, a lot of cams. Here's some pistons. A lot of big block pistons. I've been going through a lot of the pistons and things. Here's some valve train parts, valve springs, head bolts, push rods, and then a whole bunch more camshafts and things. This is actually the room where he did build engines in the winter time. And, he'd build them up here, haul them up the storm door in the summer. Here's like a 502 block, a Corvette 454 block, and then a small block that I'm not sure about down there. This is some interesting trivia here, or some interesting mementos. This is the 1976 Sports Nationals. These are some of his ETs. He ran a 66 Impala with, I think, a 327. This was about 2-3 weeks before I was born. The only time he ever missed Indy was the year I was born, 1976, because he didn't want to miss me being born. So that's so I might hang on to some of that stuff for my house. And here's some of the things from our HammerHead project. So we make a IRS differential for Camaros, Corvettes, and this one right here is based on an 8.8 Ford. It will work in the Cobra Mustangs. But he used to measure all this stuff and, design it. And here's a 3D model of one of our first ones. And here's some cover 3D models. Here's a bunch of mainly 12-bolt ring and pinions that I've got here. So there's that. And then some square port Edelbrock aluminum heads, big block Chevy that I found. And then this is another 3D model of the 8.8 differential. It has the Corvette mount points and the Cobra Mustang mount points. But this one I've never seen before. It's a RPM air gap Edelbrock for the Vortec heads, dual quad. That's pretty cool. I also have a set of ported Vortec heads like Brzezinski. And then over here, there's a lot more intake manifolds. So these are all big block tunnel rams. Different configurations, different tops. He actually engineered a shorter tunnel ram for a friend of ours that raced the NMCA and the Pro Nostalgia class back in the early 2000s. Here's some more Edelbrock stuff. And then these are all 163 big block Chevy intake manifolds, which are the good ones for the 396s, 427s, 454s, LS6, those types of things. Some more Edelbrock stuff. Small block, big block carburetors. Then here's more carburetors. These are mostly Holleys. And a lot of stuff in this room I pulled from this little crawl space in the old part of the house. And here's like some forged cranks. There's a forged 400 scat crank, some Oliver rods, some Crower rods, some Crower roller rockers, some Crower hydraulic roller lifters, just solid. These are some 502 heads, some more lifters, some torque converters from our cars. Dad was an ATI guy. So I've been in the process of just kind of putting things together and figuring out what stuff is, looking stuff up. This is something cool. A prototype tri-power 4035 horse 427 intake manifold. I don't know the origins of this, but Dad worked at a pattern shop that probably did these for GM back in the 60s. So that's pretty neat. And some more big block heads and some more pistons, timing chains. These are all carburetor kind of matched pairs for tunnel rams and stuff. So a lot of cool stuff there. So that concludes the basement, and we'll head out to the barn. So this is the speed shop. Forgive the mess. This is where Dad, he had a little storefront, and then the rest of the barn, this is the actual horse barn, was kind of inventory and where he worked on stuff. So, but this, we had some snow damage, collapse the roof upstairs, and we got some water damage and stuff. So a lot of this is kind of trashed in here, but I haven't made my way through all of this. But, we got the pegboard, and we got all these Holley and Mr. Gasket and Moroso parts still, probably from the mid-90s. Felpro. And then we have one of the first cars. So this is a 73 Camaro that he bought in Memphis. That was like a pump gas drags car. It was in primer. And he bought it in maybe the mid-2000s, right when they were doing that pump gas drags thing. And he found out that the block in it was this nice 4-bolt 512 block, like a LS5. So we took that out. Right now we've got a 454 crate motor in it. This is a motor from my old race car. We used to run stock GTE with my 83 Buick and IHRA GT stock. I used to work for IHRA. I was the internet director from, 2002 to 2010. And then there's a 283 under here. There's a 305 Vortec. Here's some of my old Grand National wheels that I had on my 87 T-Type. Here's some Hooker LS swap 3rd gen headers. There's another big block. And then we have a whole bunch of big block heads here. And a lot of cranks. Got some 327 cranks. And like I said, he used to race stock Eliminator back in the 70s. Kind of looks like a teardown area. Some more 502 heads, some cast iron intakes. And then I started separating quadrajets. And then some Hollies in here. There's a 307 Olds. Got some more transmissions, Borg Warner, 700 R4, Turbo 400s. I think I got about 12 transmissions here. Some old 4GCs I found too, which is cool. More shelving. Dad ran a 71 Monte Carlo in NHRA stock with a LS6, low compression LS6 square port. So he was always finding those low compression, square port heads, and kind of hoarding those. I think there's some more LS heads, some manifolds. I moved some stuff from here, the lighter stuff, into the basement so I could work on it in the winter too. So there's some stuff off of these shelves. There's a bunch more small block stuff over here, a bunch of heads, and then a ton of drag wheels that I'm making my way through. And then rear ends. I think that's a 12 bolt from an A body. And then, I think there's like 6 or 7 small blocks buried in there. So. It's an Allison transmission, what is it? AT545. Then here's some big block cranks and some more manifolds and some other. There's a LS, like a L92 manifold. Some more intakes. And then these are some big blocks that are kind of rare. One's like a 4-speed JD code, 375 horse, 396. There's some more 512 blocks, 4 bolt and 2 bolt. Then here's a bunch of 2 bolt blocks that he was kind of saving and putting parts together so he could build those. And then he built this rear end rack into the stairs. So there's some 12 bolts, some truck 12 bolts, and then some 10 bolts. This is a 12 bolt Moser for my Regal that we ran in that stalker, which is right here. Bought this car when I was 14 years old. It is not a GNX, but it's got the flares and it's got the 87 clip and everything, and a nice 8-point roll cage. And then Dad has the 69 Z28. So as I start to sell some things, I want to put this car together right. So like that 73 Camaro, that's probably for sale in the spring. Needs a few things, some wheels and tires. Here's some of our 8.8 differentials. Here's some of our 12 bolt differentials. Then I've got more pistons. I'll probably have about 50 sets of pistons here that I found. I have 1, 2, 3 more 400s. And then this is an LS engine that I kind of have sold. Some tools, hoist and big sander, some more ring and pinions. I'd like to get this lift up so I can start working on some stuff. But here's a drill press and lay down bandsaw. Some more 5 or 6 liter takeout stuff. But yeah, this is a really nice car. I can't wait to see that one. put together right. Vortex 350 short block. There's a 327 machine 327 block back there. And that one under the cover is going to go in that Monte Carlo that I'm keeping, which Dad bought when I was 6 months old. So that's going to be a very special project, which I'll also show some things about here. So this is kind of the barn, and then we'll go upstairs here shortly. Okay? Okay, so we're upstairs in the barn now. You can kind of see where we had this issue with the roof. It's been repaired and we got a new roof on. But there's a lot of parts down here. Parts for the Monte Carlo. There's some big block parts over there. Some truck parts over there. Random things. A lot of rally wheels. A lot of carburetors. There's some more Hollies, and I found some Buick quadrajets like Stage 1 GS 455. Here's some more carburetors I've been looking at, trying to figure out some AFBs, quadrajets, Hollies, lots of rear end parts, lots of big block parts. Here's a lot of headers and LS swap parts. And more pistons that I'm kind of putting together into some nice new boxes I got from my friends at Molly Motorsports. Then I'm going through some of his magazine collection and keeping some things, throwing some things away. There's some 67 Camaro seats. Those I think are some A-body headers. Small block. No, those are big block. And then there's some parts for the Monte Carlo over in this corner. There's some parts that he was engineering for Mustangs, using that Mustang differential, that type of thing. There's a nice 12-bolt carrier for a 9-inch Ford and spool that I was just checking out. Some Moser axles. Probably got 6 sets of Moser axles, like 33 or 35 spline. 427 pistons, dimple rods. I'm trying to put together a complete collection of Hot Rod magazine and Superstock magazine, and I'd say it's pretty close. And then Carcraft as well. Super Chevy. Dad was a Chevy guy. Most of this is Chevy stuff. So. And over there we got a bunch of parts. That's a bunch of parts for the Z28. Chevelle seats. 66, 67 Chevelle seats. And then more pistons that are on rods that I'm trying to inventory as well. Some more torque converters down here. Some random air dams from my T-type. And then there's some grills for my T-type and another console or two. So that's kind of what I'm dealing. Oh, those are some. I think those are buckets for the Monte Carlo that I'm building. And some Moroso trick springs. On the old Regal. But yeah, that's kind of, it's a lot to deal with. And I would say that before Dad passed, my grandpa, his dad passed, and he didn't want to leave us with too much of a mess to clean up, because he had to do that himself. But you know, you don't pick when you go. But I do know that he was starting to get rid of things and organize things. It might not look so organized, but that might be because I pulled a lot of this stuff out of here trying to figure out what stuff was. So, well, thank you guys, and I just want to, get good prices for things and take care of Mom. I don't want somebody to come in here, and I've had like some vulture type characters come around. New dad, you know, I think they probably wanted to give us pennies on the dollar for things, and I don't play that. So, but I'll be fair. So, anyway, if you need anything, small block Chevy, big block Chevy, you know, I know there's a parts shortage right now. I probably have something for you over here. So, all right, thanks, guys.